This is Monster Jam. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Monster Jam MatchUp 5. Alright, here's the first group. It is Ice Cream Man, Gravedigger, and Time Flies. Ice Cream Man will go first. There goes Ice Cream Man and gets it with a wheelie. Next up is... Ooh, and Gravedigger does not get a point. Last up for Group 1 is Time Flies. And no point for Time Flies. So Ice Cream Man is the only one in Group 1 to get a point. Alright, the next group is Grinder, the Destroyer, and Higher Education. Alright, so Grinder will go first for Group 2. Ooh, and Grinder does not get a point. Next up is the Destroyer. Ooh, no point for the Destroyer, sorry. Last up is Higher Education. And Higher Education is the only one in Group 2 to get a point. Next up is Group 3, which is El Toro Loco, Max D, and Alien Invasion. And there goes El Toro Loco. No point for El Toro Loco. Next up is Max D. And, oh! Max D almost did a wheelie. He almost did it. But no point for Max D. And let me just fix the ramp. Alright. Last up is Alien Invasion. Oh, and none of them get a point. Now on to Group 4, which is Jurassic Attack, Makoto Suzuki, and Megalodon. Jurassic Attack will go first. And Jurassic Attack gets a point. And landing on the dirt. Next up is Makoto Suzuki. And knocks down Jurassic Attack and will not get a point. Last up is Megalodon for his group. There goes Megalodon. And point goes for Megalodon. Now on to Group 5, which is Mohawk Warrior, NEA Police, and Captain's Curse. Mohawk Warrior will go first. And, ooh, no point for Mohawk Warrior. Next up is NEA Police. And no point for NEA Police. Last up is Captain's Curse. And Captain's Curse lands on the dirt, and he will get a point. Now on to Group 6, which is Metal Malaysia, Wonder Woman, and Annihilator. Metal Malaysia will go first. And Metal Malaysia gets it with a wheelie. Next up is Wonder Woman. And no point for Wonder Woman. Last up is Annihilator. And no point for Annihilator, so Metal Malaysia is the only one who got a point in this group. Next is Group 7, which contains Zombie Hunter, Big Kahuna, and Backdraft. Zombie Hunter will go first. And Zombie Hunter gets a point with a wheelie. Next up is Big Kahuna. Oh, Big Kahuna went over there, so Big Kahuna will go again. Alright, let's do that one more time. Here we go. And Big Kahuna gets a point with a wheelie. Last up is Backdraft for Group 7. And no point for Backdraft. So Zombie Hunter and Big Kahuna get a point for their group. Now on to Group 8. Which, on Group 8, we have Earthshaker, Son of a Digger, and Monster Mutt. Earthshaker will go first. And no point for Earthshaker. Next up is Son of a Digger. And, oh! Son of a Digger gets a wheelie. Nice landing, by the way. Last up is Monster Mutt for Group 8. And no point for Monster Mutt, so Son of a Digger is the only one that gets a point on this group. Now on to the final group. Scooby-Doo, Radical Rescue, and Overkill Evolution. Scooby-Doo will go first. And point for Scooby-Doo. Next up is Radical Rescue. And a point for Radical Rescue with a wheelie. Last up is Overkill Evolution. And, oh! He almost did a nose stand, but Overkill Evolution does not get a point. Alright guys, here are the monster trucks that have a point for match 1. Ice Cream Man, Higher Education, Makita Suzuki, Megalodon, Captain's Curse, Metal Malaysia, Big Kahuna, Zombie Hunter, Son of a Digger, Radical Rescue, and Scooby-Doo. Now on to match 2. Alright, to start match 2, we have Group 1, which is Makita Suzuki, Jurassic Attack, and The Destroyer. Makita Suzuki will go first. And Makita Suzuki gets a point with the wheelie. Next up is Jurassic Attack. Oh, and Jurassic Attack does not get a point. Last up is The Destroyer for Group 1. And no point for The Destroyer. So Makita Suzuki is the only one that gets a point for Group 1. Now on to Group 2. In Group 2, we have El Toro Loco, Wonder Woman, and Max D. El Toro Loco will go first for Group 2. And no point for El Toro Loco. Next up is Wonder Woman. And no point for Wonder Woman. Last up is Max D. And Max D gets a point with an amazing landing. Now on to Group 3. In Group 3 we have Scooby-Doo, Time Flies, and Grinder. Scooby-Doo will go first. And no point for Scooby-Doo. Let me just fix the RAM. Alright, there we go. Next up is Time Flies. And ooh, no point for Time Flies. Last up for Group 3 is Grinder. And Grinder gets a point with an amazing landing. Now here we are with Group 4. In Group 4 we have Son of a Digger, Annihilator, and Alien Invasion. Son of a Digger will go first for Group 4. And no point for Son of a Digger. Next up is Annihilator. And no point for Annihilator. Last up is Alien Invasion. Oh, and no point for this group. Now on to Group 5. In Group 5 we have Higher Education, Great, and Overkill Evolution. Higher Education will go first. And Higher Education gets a point with a wheelie. Next up is Gravedigger. And there goes Gravedigger, and no point for Gravedigger. Last up was Overkill Evolution for Group 5. And no point for Overkill Evolution, so Higher Education is the only one that has a point in his group. Now on to Group 6. In Group 6, we have Backdraft, Metal Malaysia, and Big Kahuna. Backdraft will go first. And Backdraft gets a point with a wheelie. Next up is Metal Malaysia. Oh, and Metal Malaysia does not get a point. Last up is Big Kahuna. And no point for Big Kahuna, so Backdraft is the only one that gets a point. Now on to Group 7, which is all Spin Masters. Mohawk Warrior, Captain's Curse, and Megalodon. Mohawk Warrior will go first. And Mohawk Warrior gets a point with a wheelie. Next up is Captain's Curse. And no point for Captain's Curse. Last up for Group 7, we have Megalodon. And no point for Megalodon, so Mohawk Warrior is the only one that gets a point in his group. Now on to Group 8, which is In Group 8, we have NEA Police, Zombie Hunter, and Earthshaker. NEA Police will go first. And NEA Police gets a point. Next up is Zombie Hunter. No point for Zombie Hunter. Last up is Earthshaker for Group 8. And, Earthshaker could have made an amazing landing, but he didn't land it. So NEA Police is the only one that gets a point in Group 8. Now on to the final group, in Group 9. And in Group 9 we have Monster Mutt, Radical Rescue, and Ice Cream Man. Monster Mutt will go first for Group 9. And Monster Mutt gets a point with a wheelie. Next up is Radical Rescue. And Radical Rescue gets a point. Last up is Ice Cream Man for Group 9. And there he goes. And point for Ice Cream Man. So all of the members in Group 9 all get a point. Alright guys, here are the monster trucks that have a point. Makoto Suzuki, Max D, Grinder, Higher Education, Monster Mutt, Backdraft, Mohawk Warrior, NEA Police, Radical Rescue, and Ice Cream Man. And that wraps up matchup 5 of Hot Wheels / Spin Master Monster Jam. And see you guys next time. Bye.